Hello, we are broadcasting live. This is Dr. Ron. We haven't met before. My name is Dr. Cheng Ron. I'm a board certified internal medicine physician in Texas. And today, what I want to talk about is battling depression. And depression is a subject that is very near and dear to my heart because a lot of people I know, a lot of friends and family, suffer through a tremendous amount of depression. But let's talk about the concept of depression and exactly where it came about and why is it so prevalent these days. So, a lot of times when we think depression, we think that there's something going on in our head that's causing us to be depressed, and that's it. But the story goes much, much, much further than that. With depression, there's a physical link to what our brain is thinking. You know, the whole body is linked, and to balance the brain, you have to balance the rest of the body too. So a lot of times when people come into my office and they say they've been depressed or they come in because some therapist or somebody told them that they needed an antidepressant, well, I say, well, let's figure out why you have depression in the first place, and to get to the root of the cause is extremely, extremely important. And without getting to the root cause of what caused the depression, we can't heal. You know, unfortunately, in America, when people come into the doctor's office and they get depressed, they get sent home with an antidepressant, and it's not really the way to go about it. First, antidepressants have a whole myriad of side effects, and if you've been on antidepressants, you know how they are. And two, people can become very dependent on them. And three, you're using a medicine that pharmacologically changes the chemical balance of your brain. Well, that may be good in some situations, but most of the time it's not because it does not allow the rest of the body to be balanced. And so, you know, going on antidepressants, while it's okay for some people, it's not the full story here. So let's look at some of the full stories, right? So first of all, before you diagnose yourself with depression, make sure you go to a physician and actually get diagnosed with this. You have to make sure that nothing else in your body is wrong, causing you to feel this way. Your hormones have to be balanced. Your vitamin D have to be up par. Your body chemistry and electrolytes have to be in balance, and your vitamin levels have to be in balance. So these are the things that needs to be checked when you feel like you are depressed, and your physician will go ahead and do that for you. But when we go through this and we check that everything's okay, and we're still diagnosed with the underlying depression, well, there's a little more to it than that too. Well, one of the things that I ask when everybody's depressed is that, well, go through with me your diet. How is your diet like throughout the day? And a lot of times there's a big pause, and they say it's not great. Was it not great because you're depressed and you're using food as a reward, or is it not great because you ate the bad foods in the first place and that caused you to be depressed? And the answer is really hard to answer because a lot of times when people eat food that's not great for them, they have that really bad feeling and they have a downward spiral that just goes down and down and down. And that's a really hard thing to come by. And so, you know, after all the blood work and everything comes back and everything's normal and you feel like there's a lot of things that you do in your life that may be good for you, but at the same time you still feel depressed about one thing or another, really look deep down into the things that you're eating. A lot of things that you're eating, and everybody is different. It's not that there's not one diet for everybody. Every person responds to foods differently. Every person has different inflammatory responses to different allergens, and those have to be really teased out very carefully. So let's say if someone is gluten intolerant and they consume gluten, and it's going to lead to inflammation in their gut. It's going to change the bacteria that's in their gut. That leads to a whole myriad of things that happen to the body, and it's going to make them feel very depressed. If someone has a lactose intolerance, same thing's going to happen. If someone has soy intolerance, same thing's going to happen. So to really talk about depression is really to talk about the entire body and make sure that, you know, our entire body is in balance, not shifted one way or another. Okay, and there's a lot of people that can help throughout something like this, and it's not a very simple answer for a doctor to just prescribe medicine and then that's it. Although there's a lot of patients that I do prescribe antidepressants to, and they truly need it, in their circumstances, but I guarantee you I know exactly everything that they eat. I know everything that they eat, and I know everything that they do. And once we optimize that, and then we can talk about some antidepressants. So when physicians prescribe antidepressants, there's several different class categories, and it's not a cookie cutter approach. These medications, everybody metabolizes them very differently. And one person will respond to one medication very differently than they will respond to another medication based on how they metabolize it, meaning based on how they break down these individual medicines. And so there's definitely not a cookie cutter approach to any of this. But what we can do is for ourselves, we can eat whole foods, we can eat foods that make us feel good. Not talking about make us feel good as in eating McDonald's and having a reward. Make us feel good, meaning that we feel proud that we eat this food and it nourishes our body. We want food to nourish our body once again, right? There's another concept behind depression, and that leads back to what I talked about before, which is something called leaky gut syndrome, is when the gut reacts to different types of food, which becomes an allergen, and that causes a lot of inflammation to happen in the lumen of the gut, and also changes the bacterial flora. It changes the bacteria that lives inside the gut, and these bacteria is the stuff that we need to survive. But once it starts changing, it's lead to a lot of different diseases, and depression is absolutely one of them. And so, as you can see, using food as medicine is far more important than most people realize, than even I have realized before in the past. But it is definitely necessary to tease out and see. Let's talk about some of the things that can cause depression physically. And like I said before, it's going to be some vitamin deficiencies. It's going to be looking to see if you're anemic or not, if you have enough iron in your blood, looking to see if you are up to par with your vitamin D, and all these different things. So I have a list right here to my left, and so I'm going to go over it real quick. Here we go. So first and foremost, thyroid function. So thyroid hormone, for those of you who don't know what thyroid hormone is a hormone, I call it the gateway hormone. It's the hormone that will cause everything else in the body to work. If you don't have enough of it, a lot of other hormones in the body does not work. If you have too much of it, it could be on overdrive, and it could be very, very detrimental to you. And so when thyroid hormones are in balance, you don't feel right. You're more tired than usual. And chronic fatigue leads to depression. If you're tired for a very long time, you don't want to do a whole lot, you lose your ambition, and that causes depression. Another one is vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is in the pathway where it allows the muscles to relax after contraction. So it has to do with the muscle contraction relaxation mechanism, along with a whole myriad of other things. So vitamin D deficiency is associated with not just chronic fatigue, but it's also associated with autoimmune processes, developing colon polyps, which can lead to colon cancer, allergies, you name it. Vitamin D is sort of like the vitamin that's needed for a lot of different processes in our body. If we don't have enough of that, then it's hard to stay balanced in that. And most people, I practice in Houston, I'll tell you, even though there's a lot of sun down here, most people are vitamin D deficient. And then let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are the fatty acids you find in wild-caught fish that's closer towards the colder areas. So omega-3s are super important because they have a huge anti-inflammatory property to these fats. These are the fats that we need to survive and that we need to feel very good about ourselves. Let's see, and of course the last one is if you have any food allergies, then as I said before, stuff like gluten intolerance, stuff like lactose intolerance, soy intolerance, barley, you name it, a lot of these different things can cause us to feel not so great. And it's not a bad idea to get some of those things tested or start eliminating those things from your diet to see if you actually feel better about yourself physically. And then after that, the mental will follow through. If you guys are interested in what supplements you should be taking, Okay, if you go to my website, ronmd.com, RUANMD.com, there's a section that says shop. If you click on that, it takes you to an Amazon link where there's a whole list of things, and on the very top I have something that's called superfoods. I just made this. There's a link that's called superfoods, and there's a link that's called supplements, and those are the things that I believe that you should be taking. Okay, but like I said, everybody's different. Always consult with your physician. One of the most common questions that I get in my office is, can I overdose on vitamin D? Because a lot of people do take vitamin D. Yes, you can overdose on vitamin D. Have I seen it before? I've never seen that before. You can take very large doses of vitamin D and not overdose. I have not seen a vitamin D overdose in a very long time. So the vitamins that you can overdose on is vitamin A, D, E, and K. And these are what called the fat-soluble vitamins, meaning that they require fat to be absorbed into the body, and they get stored on the fat cells in our body, including the liver. And because they get stored, they can potentially develop toxic effects. But for the most part, take these supplements. It's going to make you feel better. And in the superfood section that I have up there, there's going to be flax seeds, there's going to be hemp seeds. But once again, a lot of people have sensitivity to these superfoods, and if you are sensitive to it, if it doesn't make you feel good, it makes you have diarrhea, then don't take it. Don't take it. These are not for everybody, okay? But these are our general consensus in the functional medicine community, in the medical community, of what the foods that we should be eating. All right. Once again, my website is RUANMD.com, and just click on the shop section. It'll take you right there. All right. But thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put in the comments, and I'll try to address them. If you find this to be valuable, share it in your newsfeed. If you find it to be extra valuable, send this video link to somebody that you care about through Facebook, or through email or anything like that, because this particular Facebook page is a public page, and you don't have to have Facebook to view it. Okay? So thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and have a great day.